This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And hey, if you're looking to plan your next trip to Walt Disney World and you want to have someone help you do all the hard stuff, whether it's your first trip and you need a little hand holding, or you've been there many, many times and you just don't need to do all that boring stuff, book the resort, book your ADRs, do all that stuff. Let someone else take care of all that for you. Let them do all that stuff. And the best part, it's free to you. It's the same cost as if you did it yourself. So why not have someone do it for you? Check them out online at www.mousefantravel.com.
Bringing the world to your world, this is Walt Disney World Today. Here are Mike Scopa, Len Testa, Mike Newell, and your host, Matt Hochberg.
It's Wednesday, November 3rd, 2010, and this is episode 794 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
You go out and then back in.
You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about.
Go out and then back in.
I got nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not even getting a park.
You go out and then back in.
Actually, you can sing it.
Oh, is it lead singing?
Is it what?
Is it like a song? Is it from a song?
Yeah, I think it's a song, you might say.
Sing it, big man.
Yeah, go for it, Mike.
I'm not sure exactly how
No idea.
it's supposed to be sung. But
What is it, Mike?
it's Marlin from Finding Nemo. The musical.
Jeez, wow.
Wow.
When you take anything from Animal Kingdom, dude, that's just a
Yeah,
low
really.
blow.
And well, after about 900 and whatever episodes we're doing, 780, 793,
Yeah, exactly.
they're going to start getting tough, I almost went with you.
You, one word. That's exactly.
Also joining us on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Len, less than 1 month to reunion.
Oh, I'm so excited about it.
It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
Looking forward to taking some time off, seeing everyone, goofing around in the parks without the pressure to do research. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike, I got to ask, since it's less than a month to reunion, maybe you're going to start thinking about packing soon. Are we going to be getting photos of your packing process as we did last year?
No, absolutely not. Learn my lesson.
There's an old joke about that somewhere. You have to ask Mike about
let's
that.
keep it there.
It's Wednesday. We're answering your listener questions. Let's get things started here with an email from Sarah Bentz in Poconos in the Poconos in Pennsylvania. I didn't know there were Poconos in Pennsylvania. I thought that was only in New York.
No, that's always been Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah, like all the Poconos resorts, those are all Pennsylvania.
I had no idea. I learned something.
And you lived
Anyway.
in Brooklyn? Good God.
Geology isn't Matt's strong suit.
Apparently not.
Sarah writes, love the WDW Today podcast and want your expert opinions on what I perceive is becoming a much more knowledgeable Walt Disney World touring population. I know the unofficial guide states that fewer than 10% of the touring population has read the unofficial guide, and even less follow the touring plan's advice. But I think several factors are leading to more and more savvy tourists in the parks, and it's becoming hard to, quote, outsmart them. In other words, everyone heads to Toy Story and Mountains first, and most of them know how to utilize the FastPass system effectively. From my perspective, several factors seem to lend more credence to this theory. Number one, nice article in the print and online version of USA Today back on September 29th, highlighting touring plans in the official guide. The word is out there as we get and use social media more, the word of mouth factor becomes greater. 2, you have a much more internet savvy population in general. 3, the recent economic recession has meant fewer vacations, which means people are starting to stretch virtually through planning ahead, reading blogs, participating on message boards, and listening to wonderful podcasts like this one. And 4, also thank you economy. People are motivated to do their research in order to stretch their vacation dollars and times further. What do you think, Len?
So in the guide we say that less than 1%, or maybe right at 1% of the people who are in the park in a given day have been exposed to the advice in the unofficial guide. Even if you account for the people who look at touring plans without reading the guide, so the touringplans.com online stuff without reading the guide, that's probably still less than 1.5% of all of the people in a park. That's really not enough to influence anything in any significant way. I think the thing with Toy Story Mania that you notice is as an example. If you've been there once in the since Toy Story Mania is open, you definitely understand the need to get that fast pass or ride it first. There's also, I think, a word of mouth effect going on in the crowd itself while people are queuing around. People tend to talk to each other in line. They ask where everyone needs to go first. If you haven't done any planning, you might ask a cast member what to do first. They're all going to say go to Toy Story Mania, and I think that that also adds to the perception that everyone goes to the same place.
We should test that out next time. We should be like, have you guys heard? Sounds dangerous. Really cool. And then have Mike Newell pretend like, really, sir? I've never met you before, but sounds dangerous. Pass the
person exactly. That's it. Yeah. So I think that's that.
Two things. They can read the books. They can go online and hear everything. But it's another thing for them to get up early every day and and do that. Number two, I think that most people, instead of doing that, make use of FastPass. I think that they see FastPass as the answer all to everything, and I don't think that people take the early, getting up early rule as seriously as they should. If they did, I think we would see more of that. But I really think that, number one, it's one thing to know it; it's another thing to get up and walk the walk, so to speak. So I think that's the thing. I really think that most people, depend upon FastPass. I really do.
Next email is from Nicole, who writes, I wanted to let you know that I've actually seen Lucky the Dinosaur. Woo. Lucky is currently at the Imagineering building. On a recent Adventures by Disney trip in July, our Imagineer had Lucky brought out so that we could interact with him. I'm glad I could see Lucky since I missed him when he was in the parks. Thanks for creating a great podcast. I look forward to hearing it each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
That's awesome.
And she sent us a picture also, just to, for
glad to hear he hasn't been dismembered
as
or
proof.
So that's very good.
Good.
Next email is from Katie Little from Scarborough, Maine, soon to be Orlando, Florida. Writes, I meant to send this email last week, but it somehow slipped my mind. I commute 4 hours round trip to school 2 days a week. Wow. And often listen to the show to occupy my mind as I drive through the backwoods of Maine. While going through older episodes, I stumbled upon episode 506, which was titled Who Wants Len's Room? I thought the idea was genius, giving a listener the opportunity to stay for free off property. I've stayed off property one time and only once in April 2009, and there's a reason why I'll never do it again. One of the rooms that was reviewed was the Legacy Grand. My boyfriend and I chose the Legacy.
Oh man, the Legacy Grand. Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
Len knows about it.
I chose the Legacy for its convenient location and low rates for the trip.
Okay, low rates. So $25 a night. Okay, that's what I paid, something like that.
Yeah, for the trip, and had to end early because of family emergency back home. All that I can say is my dorm room was cleaner than the room we stayed in. I noticed that there were two types of rooms, the suites and the regular rooms. The pictures that were displayed on Travelocity or wherever we booked our room looked nothing like what with the room we got. The rug was dirty, and we wore flip-flops in the shower. It's disgusting.
Ugh.
We did not feel safe and slept with the lights on the entire time that we were there. There is Wi-Fi, but you really have to search for it, and there is connection in the lobby, and only the lobby. I can only go on for about an hour in experience, and I go every 4 hours. Anyway, thanks for all you do and all the shows you keep me occupied on a weekly basis.
I believe the Legacy Grand has now closed. It's been replaced by another hotel, which was just
darn. Yeah, it's a real shame.
Yeah, we're really missing out on something there.
I think I saw it the other night on Billy the Exterminator.
Well,
Bob and I actually looked at a suite and we inspected the room. I don't know if they.
What was that? $30 a night?
Yeah, it was like $29.99 or something. The extra $4.99 gets you cleanliness.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It was a tiny room, and the decor would have made your anyone with any sense of style blush. It was that bad, but it appeared to be. Ours appeared to be clean and well maintained. I don't know if there were we just happened to get lucky and get a good room, or if Kitty got a bad room. But we thought for $25 it was a reasonable value. If you that was your budget, right? If you're going to spend $100 on a week-long stay in Walt Disney World for lodging, that was what you had to do.
Yeah, I think there are lots of great off-site resorts to choose from, and you don't have to pay a lot of money for them. There's lots of great values. Also, you just have to do your homework a little bit, and I guess the Legacy Grand is not the place to stay at.
Matt,
the amazing thing is that to go from that really was $25 a night. To go from like $25 a night to $40 a night gets you a whole better class of of hotels. For $15 a night, you really get a lot.
Yeah, I do a lot of hotel bookings on like Priceline because we live in Orlando, but we like to be able to stay close to Walt Disney World sometimes. Like a Newell will come in on for a weekend or something. We want to spend time, so often we'll do a Priceline. And really, I think you're right, Len. I think $40 to $45 is where the curve of like value to hotel. Like you'll get a good hotel.
It's the intersection of value and cleanliness. It's around the $40 or $50 a night.
Yeah, like $50 to like $65 or so. I mean, that's going to get you a great bang for buck and get you a good hotel at the same time.
Yeah,
and just a tip: Travelocity and Expedia normally have the generic photos on their site, but if you go to TripAdvisor, there's a part of TripAdvisor that allows users to upload actual photos that they take, and sometimes you see not so good things about some of the places. But
great resource there is TripAdvisor.com. So whatever hotel you're thinking about booking, go to TripAdvisor, check them out there. And Len, do you guys still have in the unofficial guide a listing? Like it's like a huge like grid of offsite.
Yeah, and the Legacy Grand, I don't think it's there because it's actually changed. It had been bought out, I think in the summer, and we knew about it. So that one isn't in there. But yeah, we list more than 200 hotels in Orlando, and I've probably stayed at almost half of them. And we've inspected all the others. So
nice. Next email is from Kelly, who writes, I can't find in your A through Z list if you have a show that you've done on how people can rent DVC points. I'd be interested in hearing more about this because it seems you can get a considerable deal.
Nulio?
What did he say?
Mr. Newell?
Nulio?
Mr. Newell? Would you like to
I thought that we suggested going over to the Disboards and check out their their DVC rental site. No.
Yeah, no, I think the Disboards is definitely your best resource for renting them. I would also recommend checking out. I'm sure he's got something on there. DVCnews.com. Tim has it's all about DVC, but I think he's got a write up about that, kind of like just to kind of get you acclimated about that as well. And that might be, but the Disboards are the best place to rent points from, in my opinion. You have to. There's lots of great like sticky threads at the top of the forum, and you can find like good how tos, etiquette, how it kind of works, and that if you read through a couple of those, that probably should answer most of your questions for you over there.
The thing that I was surprised about was I talked to some people today during our trip in October, and they were still able to rent points. And I don't know I thought the going rate was around $12 a point, $13 a point now. But I had heard, I guess, because of the economy, people were able to rent points for as little as $10 each on this last trip. And really, $10 is sort of the lower limit on what you could reasonably expect to pay for points, I think.
Want to also mention, of course, if you're looking for some of our older episodes and you're trying to figure out what episode we talked about something like DVC points, check out the WDW Today wiki. You just go to WDWtoday.com. There's a link for the wiki, but you could just go to WDWtoday.com/wiki, WIKI. And great resource over there that Philip, one of our listeners, spends quite a bit of time.
Man, I think we need to upgrade Philip from listener to archivist or something like that.
Yeah, archivist, our official WDW archivist.
Yeah, because he's been doing all the best of shows. He's been putting those together.
Yeah,
so he kind of knows anything we've spoken about. He either knows what episode it's from or where to look for it. So I'm thinking we should give him an official title.
And you got to meet him finally, right, Len, on your trip?
Yeah, Philip picked me up at Alton Towers in the UK. We went out to a pub, had a great dinner, had a really, really nice talk. I enjoyed it quite a bit. We've got to do something for him the next time he's over in Walt Disney World.
Was it like that Saturday Night Live bit where it's like in episode 472 you mentioned you're like get a life?
No, that was really cool.
No, it was remarkably normal. It's I was probably more geeky than he was. He's got a family. He's adjusted, and I'm the single guy running around a set of British theme parks going, oh, let's ride rides. So
he's not as big of a nerd as ACP then. Okay.
Philip was great.
Next email's from Brian, home of the Super Bowl 44 champs. I don't know. Anyway.
Wow.
It's actually a question for Marvin. It says, Marvin, I've noticed you bulked up over the years. How do you do this? Bowflex? Tybo? I need help getting muscle mass. Can you help me? Also, how does Mardi Gras affect the crowds?
Mardi Gras definitely brings in. So I can't recommend anything in terms of performance enhancing drugs for bulking up. It's just lean protein and a good set of quality carbohydrates. Amino acids are the key. In terms of Mardi Gras, you definitely see an influx of people from New Orleans. It's a short drive. Actually, from southern Louisiana in general, it's a 10-hour drive, which is roughly what it is from North Carolina. You do see an influx of them during that week. It's not enough to affect crowd levels very much. The thing you'll notice is, a preponderance of New Orleans Saints T-shirts and other sort of Louisiana paraphernalia.
Hey guys,
Next email is from
Matt. Before you go,
yeah.
I sent you guys a link in the chat notes, but I've been looking at pictures of this Legacy Grand on TripAdvisor.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's exactly what the room looked like, and actually
Wow.
our bedspreads were worse. Imagine, click on that one.
You
that's
see the
like
one that says the photo. This is the courtyard.
wow. That's all I'm going to
It's
say.
basically a what would you call it? I don't know.
Paradise.
Paradise.
It's,
Yeah.
think of like scrub brush. There's a lone palm tree with a bunch of dead things in them. This is like, yeah, it looks like Africa during the drought.
Did it really look like that, Len? I mean, this is hard.
No, honest to God, the room, the 3, 4, 5, 6, the seventh picture over is exactly what the room looks like with worse bedspreads.
Wow.
Well, let's keep things.
But actually, mine, none of the paint was peeling or anything like that. It was.
And I mean, I've stayed off site plenty of times. I've never run into anything like this.
Yeah. Oof.
Oof.
Next email is from Chris Burns, who writes, "Hello, and especially Marvin. I love that you joined the show, Marvin, and as much as I love your cousin, the virus, linger longer." Anyway, we frequent Port Orleans Riverside and are thinking of staying at either the Swan or the Dolphins since my wife is eligible for the teacher discount. How do they, oh my God, Chris, you got to work on your spelling here.
Well, he is an O&A fan. Come on.
How do you compare the Swan and Dolphin to Port Orleans Riverside? Give us a couple pros and cons.
Scoba?
My guess is that Swan and Dolphin have bigger rooms, better beds. Location, Swan and Dolphin probably has it over Port Orleans. I think that Swan and Dolphin have it over them, Port Orleans for eateries, restaurants, things like that. I think that the cost, the value, oh boy. I'm guessing that they're pretty close, although I'm guessing maybe Swan and Dolphin might be maybe 10 to 20% more per night. But I think you probably get more value at Swan and Dolphin than you would at Port Orleans.
The teacher rate is pretty good, Mike. So
yeah.
go for it. Go for the little upgrade there. Treat yourself.
I would. I mean, I think the beds are better, the rooms are bigger, the on-site dining is far better. Transportation might be a little bit more iffy, but and especially if you're parking a car, you're paying at $10 a day. But
yeah,
and not to mention the heavenly beds.
Yes, I'm saying the beds are far better.
They're heavenly.
The pillows are better. The bathrooms are probably better.
Next email is from Patrick Cherry of Auburn, Alabama. Love the show. The podcast really make my commute to and work bearable. I have a question about the crowd calendar on touringplans.com, which I got a half-price subscription to buy because I purchased the unofficial guide.
Woo! Thank you.
My family of 5 will be traveling to the world November 18th through November 26th. On touringplans.com, the crowd calendar has the crowd levels at 4s on the 18th and 19th, and 9s the remaining time we're there. Is this accurate? The reason I ask is because we traveled the world at roughly the same time in 2006 before the economic downturn, and the crowd levels were nowhere near this crowded until Thanksgiving Eve and Thanksgiving Day. I was thinking the crowds would be roughly the same as 2006, maybe less because of the economy. Love the show. Many thanks.
So we've adjusted the crowd calendar since then based on things like park hours, and I think the scale may have changed since the letter was written. Mm-hmm. We're looking at 1s through 4s for most of those days. The sort of the weekend, the early part of the week of Thanksgiving, the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, things start to creep up a bit because we think kids will be out of school.
Oh.
So it gradually goes from 1s, 3s, and 4s to 6, 7, 10.
Right.
The closer you get to Thanksgiving. So, the Friday before, the weekend before, maybe the Monday of, not terribly bad. But then it starts picking up on Thursday. So it's not the 9s as early in the week as before.
Okay. Next email is from Ruben from Maryland. I have a question for you if you haven't already figured it out already. I'm in the preliminary stages of planning a trip to the world for a small group. It's not too many people, but we're all very private, so we're considering staying in one of the garden suites at the boardwalk. Do you guys have any experience there, and would you recommend it? I'm under the impression that it's a separate building. Is that true? If you don't like those suites, do you have any other suggestions for 3 to 4 18-year-old guys who want a lot of space? I would say all-star vacation homes.
I would totally say that.
I mean, you're going to get a lot of space, and it's going to cost you far less per person. I don't know, what do you think of the garden suites, though? And that was his original question.
They're fabulous. I like them quite a bit for the location, and plus they're pretty. So they've got little courtyards Going
Are they
out to
separate
Be-
buildings?
No, it's all part of the villas building, and they kind of stick out the end by the pool, I believe. But they're lovely. They're really nice. I don't know if it's if a bunch of guys are going to like it. I think a vacation home might be better unless they're for some reason they don't want to drive. But yeah, they're very nice. I would also say check out Beach Club Villas, which are I think a little bit better in terms of the room layout.
But value-wise, you're probably going to be getting the best value with All-Star.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. You get a lot of space. Private pool. I mean, not to sound like they are a sponsor of ours, but I really do think that would be a great fit. Next email is from Vernon Rollins from New York. I have questions concerning the parks. Does Disney have a security plan for lost kids in the park? In this day and age, what happens when a lost child is reported? Are cast members equipped to handle such an emergency? Is the Magic Kingdom secure?
They get sent over to Small World and where they live eternity.
Yeah.
No,
they're quickly freeze dried and turned into
frozen
Pixie dust.
carbonite. Now, actually, Disney World is very attuned to this issue. Every cast member is trained on how to not only deal with the situation, but spot the situation. They really do seek out kids who look like they might be lost, and they're very well trained in dealing with this. Typically what happens is that they're brought to usually the guest relations area where they'll be hopefully reunited with the parent. So obviously if you're the parent of a lost child, you should head to guest relations immediately in that park or City Hall in the Magic Kingdom and go check it out. But I mean, in terms of being secure, I think it's one of the safest places that you could really go with a family. Do you guys agree?
I do. I mean, you hear these rumors from people that, that kids get lost all the time or kids get abducted all the time, from Walt Disney World. And dude, I got to say, if it was happening on a regular basis, don't you think that would be all over the news? Wouldn't 2020 or Dateline?
Yeah, they report fender benders in Disney World like it's a major, like a 20-car pileup.
Yeah. And the other thing I hear is, that Disney's paying out hush money to the families to keep it all quiet. Let me ask this question: how much would Disney have to pay you if your kid was abducted to keep quiet?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Next email is from Mike, who writes, "My wife and I are planning a trip to early December, November 30th through December 8th, and we're staying at the Wilderness Lodge. With the holidays from last year safely behind us, we were wondering what your thoughts are on the holiday offerings at the parks that they have there. Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, candlelight processional thingy, displays at the different resorts, special tours, etc. Thanks for the great show." I would actually refer. There's so much there. It's a loaded question, really, Mike. And if you go back to the wiki I mentioned earlier, go to www.com/wiki, and you click on episodes and topics by that we've mentioned, and you can go down there and find everything we've talked about: holidays, all sorts of holiday decorations. There's actually a topic called holiday touring, and you can see winter. We've done a bunch of episodes, so that's really a great resource to hear. So we don't give you like the 2-second version, which isn't going to help you a whole lot. Go over to the wiki, check out all our older episodes where we have discussed that.
That's right.
Well,
Philip, the
one
archivist, has
caveat
it.
though, Matt, we don't know exactly what's in store for this year. There may be a few wrinkles here and there, but you haven't heard about them yet.
Yeah, I think even the older episodes would cover 90-95% of what's going to be happening. There might be that thing that might change this year, and you're absolutely right about that, Mike.
Right.
Next email is from Nathan Thornton. "Hey guys, one of my family's favorite things about Walt Disney World is the way the parks delight all the senses. Not only the cool things to see, great music to hear, and delicious foods to taste, but there's also a number of incredible smells as well, artificial and otherwise. From the scent of oranges and Soarin', to the smell of fresh baked chocolate chip cookies on Main Street USA, to the acrid scent of Rome's burning ashes and Spaceship Earth. There are countless wonderful scents to enjoy, and one disgusting one: the Mouse Gear merchandise in Epcot. Why does it smell like raw sewage in there? I've never thought
never
it smelled
smelled
bad.
I never noticed the smell in there.
Yeah,
Maybe they were having just a sewage problem one day. I never
that's
noticed.
really weird. I can't even remember ever thinking that.
Yeah, no, and I was in there in October.
Oh, that's why it smells.
Yeah, there you go. That was it.
Nice. All right, we're gonna wrap things up kind of early because we got to go back to we got to go eat our candy from Halloween still
Before it gets
days
stale.
ago.
before it gets stale, right? So, Mr. Newell, I'm gonna give you 3 emails to choose from. One gets read today. The other 2 go back into the email queue to be answered later. Are you ready, Mike?
Bring it, kid.
Lines.
Let's go with that one.
You don't want to hear the other 2?
All right, let's see the other two.
Chocolate.
No love for Animal Kingdom. And question: why Stitch?
Wow. All right, save the lines for next week, and let's get the Stitch one in.
Yeah.
Last email today is from Ben Schmidt. Writes, love the podcast. Quick question. What is Disney's fascination with Stitch? It seems to me like he permeates the landscape in the world. I hear him on the morning wake-up call. I see him in the park meet and greets. He's got his own ride, the Halloween dance party, a feature in the Christmas show. It seems like it goes on and on. Disney's released several great films since Lilo and Stitch, but those characters don't seem to be near the attention that Stitch does. He also does not seem to be the most popular character by any stretch of the imagination. Any idea why Disney pushes his presence so much? Scopa?
All right, here's the story. The story is that when Lilo and Stitch came out, it was received with so much fanfare that when Disney started pushing the Stitch merchandise, Stitch went up there. It was like one of the top 4 selling merchandise themes. So that kind of prompted them to say, maybe we should put together an attraction that empties out into a
Stitch store
that has, Stitch's stuff. And so they thought that would work. The problem is that Stitch just does not translate into a theme park character. It hasn't worked with the attraction. It didn't work with Stitch's supersonic blah, blah, blah last year. What did it last, Matt, for 3 weeks maybe?
Yeah, not even. It was the shortest run for an attraction that was supposed to be permanent ever.
And then to top it all off, to insult us even more, for the Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, they took away The Night Before Christmas, which was a huge favorite, standing room only, 3 shows when every time they had the party, and they replaced that with some kind of a Night Before Christmas Stitches thing that was so lame. It really, really was poor, and I just don't think they get it. I think that Stitch on the screen works, Stitch off the screen does not work. That's my opinion. Len?
I think as a character in the parks, he suffers from being a difficult character to empathize with, because in part of every one of his shows, he's either bad or mischievous, right?
Right.
And then something happens and he turns good, but it's the story the stories that have presented Stitch thus far, it's been difficult to figure out what aspect of that character you're trying to empathize with. I still think he would do reasonably well in the Tiki Room in the right circumstances, but I can't imagine them trying to put him in more places. I mean, it's 2 strikes and you're out on this one.
I want to pick up what Len was saying. I have a feeling that there's a possibility here that parenting is coming into play here. If Stitch is to give you he is the most mischievous of all the Disney characters, maybe the parents don't like that. Maybe they're kind of steering the kids away from him. Maybe that's it too. But I think Len's point has a lot of merit. Maybe that's it. You can't empathize with him. Len, when we did Stitch's Great Escape, when they had the soft opening, remember he spit on us. So are we supposed to sympathize with him?
Again, that's the thing. It was a confusing story. It wasn't set up well. And I think, the Supersonic Celebration thing too was great venue, good idea. By the way, if anybody has a chance to go see Electronica at night in DCA, that's how you do a nighttime show. That I think is very good. But the thing that they did in the Magic Kingdom, it was just a terrible story. There weren't really any effects. It was just more of the same old thing. It was just bad. It was just bad scripting. So
yeah, it was interesting because it was based on a show from Disneyland Paris. And rather than just copy the show from Disneyland Paris over, like just verbatim, straight copy and here you go, they messed with it a little bit, and it totally was terrible. And it's kind of the interesting thing about Stitch as a character, we've kind of seen this trend. I mean, you guys remember? I remember there was a couple of years where Tinkerbell was huge, like around 2004 or so, and she was everywhere. Merchandise was everywhere. Then Stitch came and took over again. And then it's been replaced by 1,000 other things now. I mean, now it's Duffy, and before that, you had Camp Rock, but these are kind of trends and everything. But I think with Stitch more than anything was also it had the distinct aura for Disney because it also appealed to boys quite a bit, and I think that was a big attraction for them, that they could exploit a character that's popular, contemporary, and appeals to boys. And girls like Stitch too because they thought he was cute. So
I think really, yeah, that's actually a great point, Matt. I think maybe they overdid it with the princesses, and Stitch was the thing that appealed to boys. But now they could replace it with Phineas and Ferb.
yeah,
Right.
people are dying for that.
Yeah. So
Are they? Are they really?
Well, that's going to do it for us today. I want to remind all our listeners that our sponsor today is MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. And look, you're trying to figure out where to go, where to eat, where to stay, what's the best deal for you, which package is the best deal, where's the best discount. All those questions can be answered by MEI and Mouse Fan Travel. They'll do all that work for you. It costs you nothing. That's right, nothing. They'll do all that hard work for you. I mean, I love using them. I use them quite a bit. You should too. Check them out online at www.mousefantravel.com. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, you can visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hotchberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.